This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are delighted to be joined all the way from the opposite side of the pond in America with Brandon McCarthy. How are you, Brandon?
All good, Steve. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I was great until obviously I've seen your background there. It's quarter to two now in the afternoon. You can see obviously why you
Yep.
live in America. That's twice now we've done interviews and you've both been in America both times and you've teased me with that good weather. It's the sun's left Belfast here for the evening and it's been a nice day, but it's not as nice as you're getting it.
No, it's unreal over here now. Summer's coming back in, so weather's good, training's going good, especially in the gym as well. It's great to kind of have that heat in the gym and pushes you a bit more, pushes the body.
You're obviously you're in the fight week now. Obviously, this evening's Thursday. It's obviously going to go out tomorrow, which was Friday. But you're well in the fight week now. Like obviously coming on the fight week, I guess with having that good weather around probably keeps you in good spirits.
Yeah, definitely keeps the spirits up. You know, cutting the last bit of weight now, the last few pounds and that, so feeling sharp in the gym. Good weather helps out being over here, keeps me energy levels up, me good mood up. So you know, these last couple of days is normally when you're feeling a bit down and a bit drained. Like I would still be feeling sharp, but you know, cutting the weight. But it's good being doing it over here, keeping hydrated, good weather, keeps the positive kind of vibes in camp, especially coming into fight week.
The last time we obviously spoke, you hadn't made your debut. Obviously, it's what it's only 2 months ago. It probably feels like longer since obviously you had your professional debut. But like for obviously this time around, does it seem more real to you? Obviously, and I guess that worry and the pressure the last time around of being your debut, are you a lot more relaxed?
Uh, yeah, a bit more relaxed this time. The only thing I found with it was kind of I was on such a high after the debut, and then it was such a bit of a wait then to come back for the second fight. As like when the amateurs you're fighting constantly through the space of a week. So after you win the first fight, you're on the high, you're keeping it going. So that's the only thing I found a bit different now was coming back down again, everything calming down, going quiet again, and then building back up into camp again. So I've had that experience now of having the first fight and the debut out of the way, so I kind of know what way camp goes and what stages and how I should be feeling going through.
I guess it's sort of, this last, 2 months sort of since, well, just over 2 months since your debut, is it sort of now you having to make sure when you go out of camp that you don't put on too much weight so that you make your camp harder coming back in? Are you sort of having to sort of go right today? I can go a bit mad, but tomorrow sort of have to ease back a bit.
Yeah, exactly. After the debut, I had maybe 4 or 5 days now, just a bit of celebrating and enjoying and eating and enjoying myself. But then I didn't want to go mad back up because I want to stay busy this year. And, fights are going to be coming in the space of a couple of weeks here and there. So I always want to have myself in good enough shape so I can just jump straight back into camp when I do get a date.
When you look back, obviously, I know Tommy was obviously on the car when you're making your debut, which in some ways sort of helps. But when you sort of look back at the debut, in some ways you're probably maybe disappointed it didn't go for longer. Were you sort of happy how things progressed? Were you sort of having to hold back a bit, so you didn't get him out there in the first sort of, are you sort of
Yeah.
disappointed and do more rounds? Were you happy how you progressed?
No, I was happy with the performance, because I watched a lot of pro boxing and a lot of former teammates I've seen make pro debuts, and some opponents that they get are just, hands up and just take a few shots in the gloves and go down. So my fella was actually tough enough. So I'm happy kind of, even after the first knockdown, he got back up again. So I kind of wasn't too bad. It let me showcase my skills a bit more and put a bit more on display for the first one instead of just being over in 30 seconds and hitting the back of the gloves and then he's gone then, do you know what I mean? I wanted someone to give me a bit of a challenge that I could show what I have and open up on him. So I got the 2 rounds out of it. I was happy. Yeah, it was a good performance.
And obviously straight afterwards, you obviously went in the cameraman duty, and obviously you were doing the live for Tommy's fight. Like
Yeah,
you sort of just went roles reversed from sort of I'm now a professional boxer. They Tommy giving you the phone and going here, go live from the fight. Like you got to probably
exactly.
experience it with some of his lot as well. Obviously they're able to congratulate you straight away rather than seeing obviously someone texting you on Instagram or Facebook or something like that.
Yeah. I just after the fight, my phone was hopping over. The sport back home was great. The messages, comments, and everything I was getting. So I kind of just let that die down for a few days, and I just enjoyed the night. Live streamed Tommy's fight. My family were over. Some of the friends were over. Tommy had a great performance, got the title, and then we just enjoyed it then for the few days that we had left over there. And I was grateful for all the support back home, but I eventually got back to everyone back there. But it was good to enjoy the little moment after and have my own bit of time with everyone that came over and the team and all that.
And I guess obviously you've been in Belfast. Me and you sort of fell out sort of since you're obviously just over a month ago. You're obviously up in Belfast, and it's safe for me to sort of release now. But you nearly wrecked obviously history in Irish boxing. You're obviously sparring Anto Cacace, and you done damage to his ribs. But like when we look on it now, Anto's created history, been the first world champion in 5 years. But like you nearly wrecked that for him.
I know, I nearly wrecked it, and you know what? I only found out there when you had said it to me earlier because I had seen it was up and I wasn't sure because he called me up for sparring. I think it was 4 weeks out from the fight, and I was honoured to be asked up and even thought of to be brought up. So it was a great experience for me, and I went up there and we had good rounds up there, and then he had pulled up with a little injury, all right, but I thought he was okay for the fight and everything, and then seeing the performance he had then it was unreal, and it was a great boost for me to know that I was a part of that camp and I helped out only a short few weeks ago. And so it was great to be mixing it with the likes of Cacace. Like what a fighter, and what a night that was as well for him. So it just goes to show there's bigger nights like that ahead for me as well.
It's as I was going to sort of come on to, like anybody I've sort of been speaking to since, like Ando's, as you well know, obviously Ando's had the bad luck. That was his 8th fight in 7 years, and just sort of getting close to Wembley sort of happening. Obviously, America fight sort of falling through and everything else. Like
Yeah.
that inspire you in some ways. I guess you've shared rounds with him. You've sparred a world champion and things like that. But does that inspire you to know that you've played a part in helping him to become world champion?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I've only had one fight now in my debut, and I was already like after the debut when I got the phone call to go up and spar him, I was chuffed. I was buzzed. One fight in, getting asked up to spar with a world champion and brought into his camp. So now I can see myself another couple of fights down the line. I'll be up at that level and I'll be hopefully brought in with more world champions and stuff like that. And that's where I'll grow and develop.
What did you make of his performance? I guess probably Joe Cordina's class and everything else. Obviously, he's a very slick fighter. Like probably me being laser focused sort of Anando. Sometimes it's probably didn't think it would have been so easy for him, but like 35 years of age to put on a performance like that on the biggest fight of your life, like if that doesn't inspire anybody in boxing, who will it?
Oh, it was unreal. And like I'll be dead honest with you, Steve. I didn't have Cacace winning the fight. I knew it was going to be a tough fight and he'd give it up to him, but I had seen Cordina over in the gym here over in LA and he was in serious shape. He looked good, and I was sick. I never got a few rounds with him, but Cacace just straight from the first bell had a game plan, came out. He didn't let the occasion get to him. He didn't let any big names, nothing get to him. And he had a job. He was making up for all that last time, and Jesus, he put it on show that night.
It was phenomenal. Like I can't think of one bad punch he sort of threw. It was left hooks,
Yeah,
right
every
hooks,
shot he threw was
uppercuts.
with violence.
That's
It
the way
was
he
it
won
was
the world
unreal
title,
to
isn't it?
see. Yeah, that's how we need to do it. That's what I'm saying. But like taking every fight like that, that's one thing I'm gonna take off watching Cacace now. Treat every fight like a world title fight. In there, pure violence. Take these fellas over if you can. You know what I mean?
That's bad news for future opponents for you if you're going on with
That's it.
maximum
Well, that's what
violence.
we're here for, Steve. Another number
Um,
off the list. That's the way I look at them.
it is at the end of the day, you want to get them levels, but you have to come through this sort of education, sort of
Yeah,
finding your
in the
feet.
early days, education, learning, developing, meeting all different styles. That's kind of the learning curve in the early days for me for the first few fights.
And
And
like
after that, then we'll be picking up the opposition, coming for small titles and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking at.
you're moving up. I think from what it says in box reg, obviously you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you're stepping up to 6 rounds on Wednesday.
Yeah, up to 6 rounds. Yeah, I was trying to get 6 rounds for my debut, but just the commission never approved it. So now we're going to jump up to 6 rounds for the second one. I've had a lot of amateur fights, so there's no need for me to be hanging around at 4 rounders. And I feel some of these opponents that you could get, like a 4 rounder, it's very short. You see a lot of draws and stuff. If you don't have you get an awkward opponent early on for a 4 rounder and he gives you a bit of trouble for the first 2 rounds, you're playing catch up then, So at least with the 6 rounds, you can get more time to figure them out, pace yourself, and adapt.
I was actually listening to something the other day, and they were saying obviously about 4 rounders, and they don't understand why people fight 4 rounders because, as you say, if you get an opponent, and you're going to get that more in America because they don't have the journeyman level that we have in the UK and Ireland, so to speak. So if you have an opponent that comes there and he knows this is his chance to shine, you could be in a sticky situation with judges or anything like that, Were you having to chase a fight?
Anything. So I'm saying it's 4 rounds is so short as well. 2 rounds go down or don't go your way. You're chasing back the fight then, and then you're down to a draw. Or, you know, unfortunately, some of them have a loss. Like, and that's why I like the 6 rounds, because these fellas over here, they're not your casual journeymen now. They'll just take a few on the gloves and go down. These lads are coming out to win, and especially an Irish guy coming over here, they definitely want to make a statement against me, because they're saying, "Who's this guy coming over to my country, kind of like, and trying to fight over here?" They come out for a fight then, and they're ready for it. So the 6 rounds gives me a bit more time to pace myself, open them up, and see what they have.
And you've had I hope you don't mind me saying this, but obviously you've had like a couple of sort of opponents sort of tied in, and then it sort of hasn't worked out. Is it just something you have to get used to in professional boxing, that not every opponent that says yes is going to fight you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's only something I'm learning about it now. You know, I often seen fellas getting opponents and they're pulling out, and I used to always wonder, why so many fellas pulling out, or so many fights are falling through. But I see the reason now. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's in it to get something for themselves. They'll say, yeah. Next thing you know, then they wake up the next morning and they don't even want to fight anymore. So then you're back on the look again for another opponent, and you're already after doing a bit of studying with your coach and working on small few tactics of what you think's going to work in the fight, and then you have to rechange it again. So that's why I'm not really too pushed on looking at videos and studying opponents at this early, because they just change like that.
I guess, you know, when you come through next week, you know, I know it's probably too early for you to think of it, but you'll then become eligible for the BUA Celtic title, which obviously Tommy just won. Like, do you sort of envisage that sort of maybe potentially coming soon, or are you sort of happy to go through development for a bit of time before you start looking at titles?
I didn't even know I was eligible for it, Stephen. To be honest, I'm all new to this, so I don't know how it works. But look, if the opportunity came early enough in the early days and there was someone there for the fight, I'll take it, not a bother, you know. But I don't want to hold myself back and wait out and build up just for the Celtic title. If it comes, I'll take it on the journey. But if I'm getting pushed on a bit faster and I get more fights a bit faster and I'm stepping up in the ranks, I'll float on up that way and build my kind of record over this side and maybe some titles over here. But obviously, I'd love to fight for it. If the opportunity is there and the timing is right and I can take it, I'll take it. But I wouldn't like to hold myself back and delay off a couple of fights just to try and make a fight happen for a Celtic title. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like once you've won a 6 rounder, you then become eligible for the Celtic, which is 8, and then once you've fought 8, you can then fight for an Irish in 10. But
you can fight for
it. You don't sort of, you don't sort of have like a roadmap sort of where you're looking at title wise. Just because it's too early for you yet to sort of look at it, you don't want to go too far ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to be planning too far ahead. I haven't even had the second fight yet. You know, I'm not sure what the roadmap is, where my base is going to be, what kind of titles we're going to chase. You know, whether we're going to come back home and fight back home and build up a record there. We're not really too sure yet now. So I'll get these 2 or 3 3-0 maybe out of the way, and then we start looking towards that and planning towards that. But just about learning now and getting my profile out there and getting the record up. You know, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, and then we're moving up in rankings then. So.
I guess in some ways, you know, people's going to say this for you. You can move very quickly because of what you've done as an amateur. You know, you don't want to hang about. You sort of want to get in that sort of mix straight away. So it's probably more so me saying it rather than you. You know, people can classify if you want to move fast, you're cocky, you're arrogant, and everything else. It's me asking the question, but that shows that the talent that people know what you have. You know, it's only
yeah.
Them conversations very quickly.
Of course, yeah, but obviously I still don't want to be pushed too fast either, because it's a whole new game and I want to learn and develop my craft in it. But I just don't want to be held back either for certain titles or certain roadmaps. You know what I mean? If it keeps occurring and the flows keep going, I'll keep taking the fights and building up over here. Do you know what I mean? And
obviously another fight city for you as well. Obviously Plant City in Florida on the Pro Box TV card on Wednesday. Pro Box are obviously they're the promoter for the show in 4 weeks' time as well. Fergal McCrory potentially becomes the second Irish world champion in just over a month. Like, it's crazy how this sport works, and you've seen it in the amateur system, where there's just a revolving belt keeps going. You know, you just keep giving people opportunities, they'll keep taking them, and we've seen it so many times in the amateur side. But if we start to see us now in the pro game, like, we could have 10 or 20 world champions in no time.
That's what I'm saying. It's serious at the minute, and I'm delighted I got in at the right time. You know, Irish boxing's booming, a lot more Irish guys fighting for world titles and bigger titles, and it's kind of putting us on the map now and on the scene. So I'm happy to be down with Pro Box now down in Florida, build up my base down there, have a few fights down there, and then hopefully then in a couple of fights time, then I'm the one of the Irish fighters coming up fighting for these titles and working my way up towards the world title. But it's great at the minute. It's booming. Boxing booming. Irish boxing booming at the minute now for the professional game. And it's good to see, because it was a bit dead for not dead, but kind of bit quiet. It's not as big as it should have been, if you get me.
Yeah, it's more so it was on the women's side of things. Obviously, with Katie, obviously being a world champion, people think of the women's side more. Whereas when there's a male world champion now, people can go, we can be proud sort of again with someone they look to and someone they idolize and someone to be the next version of.
Exactly. We don't have people telling us we need to get our women to fight for us. We can have a few men now winning world titles.
Exactly. You know,
but,
and I guess
no, it's brilliant. Yeah.
You know, is that Florida going to be your base now for the next few fights? To sort of, you know, I guess obviously the team's going to plan everything for you though.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan now. So hopefully we'll see how this next one goes. But if it all goes good, then that'll be based down there, I'd say. And it's early days yet, but hopefully if that goes all good and the fight goes good, we'll start building up the record down there and start chasing titles and moving up in rankings and stuff, you know.
And I guess were you struggling now this week with the good weather and Tommy obviously fighting the week after, you'll sort of get a bit of relaxation and sort of back to normal life for a few days whilst he's in the immediate part of obviously preparing for his next fight.
Exactly. When he's on the weight cut, he won't be here to be all cranky at me. I'm actually booked New York, so I'm going to go to New York for a few days, and then I'm going to pop back down to Connecticut then for Tommy's fight then the week after. So he'll have the week here on his own, making the weight. I'll be out enjoying it.
Is it probably a good thing for you if obviously he's going to be cranky making weight that you're well away from him because you'll probably wind him up more than anything?
Exactly, yeah. I'll be sending him on a few videos and pictures of all the food I'll be eating up in New York now when he's cutting the weight. I would say, he's done it to me plenty of times.
I would say I'd probably have you blocked after a few messages.
Yeah, I say so, yeah, but he'll be grand, he'll get over it. But it's good to have him back in camp now as well anyway. It brings a bit more life back into the camp and gets the energy back up again, you know. So it's good now. Everything's going good. I'm sharpening up. Just ready to go now next week.
Definitely. Well, listen, thanks very much for your time as always. Obviously, go well, obviously, on Wednesday. And we'll catch up with you very, very soon.
Perfect. Lovely. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
All right, no, Brandon. Cheers. Take care.
On the ball. Nice one. God bless.
Bye. Bye. Bye.